Atlantis and the Anunnaki and the civilizations in our solar system. And one thing I want to clear up first, Anunnaki and Atlanteans are really, in my opinion, the same exact people. And that's Billy Carson's opinion. I'm not saying that's a stated fact anywhere. And so sometimes if something's my opinion, I'll let you know. If something's been recorded in ancient tablets or texts or science information that's been registered in real science journals, I'll tell you that as well. But my personal opinion is the Anunnaki are the Atlanteans. And so what I'm going to try to do tonight is establish for you some circumstantial evidence that will prove that this culture was not only here, but they were also a not only interplanetary civilization, but they were also an intergalactic civilization. Now, a lot of people always want to ask, well, where was Atlantis? You know, was it this ring city in the Atlantic Ocean? Was it in Greece? Was it in the Mediterranean? Where was it? And my answer is, Atlantis is everywhere. We are all standing and sitting on Atlantis at this exact moment. Atlantis was this entire planet. The ring city, in my opinion, was just one of many capitals on Earth, okay? And that's what we're gonna go over tonight. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about the Enuma Elish, the 7 tablets of creation to start off. And what you need to understand is the Enuma Elish is an ancient cuneiform group of tablets that really talk about the creation of our solar system, the very, very beginnings of the whole thing, how we even got here. And this was copied over and over again onto actually stone tablets that go back, in my opinion, hundreds of thousands of years, okay? Hundreds of thousands, not 8,000, not 6,000, hundreds of thousands. These are recopies after recopies. Somebody sits there with a stylus and wedges in all these cuneiform texts into new stones over and over again to make sure that the next generations to come have a copy of this story. Now, a lot of people have heard about the Sumerian tablets, and they've also heard about Zecharia Sitchin. I think Zecharia Sitchin was one of the greatest researchers probably ever. And the reason why is because he did something a lot of people didn't do. He went and put his effort into trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together. What the thing that got misconstrued with him is people thought he was the only person that can decipher these tablets. That's false. As a matter of fact, Zecharia Sitchin didn't decipher or interpret any tablets. What he did was he took existing translations that already existed and put together his own stories. Unfortunately, later on in his life, he was vilified, and it was said that he was the only person that can read him, and nobody knew what these things actually said. But if you look at his books, he gives you his source almost at every paragraph. Okay, so the reason why I bring this up in the beginning is so that people who are sitting here with this precognition of Zecharia Sitchin, maybe this whole thing is just some made-up hoopla of some stone tablets, I'm here to tell you that this stuff was translated before he was even born, okay? Before he was born, E.A. Spicer, King, all these people translated this long before he was even on Earth. So these translations are ancient, in my opinion, because we're talking about 17 and 1800s, the tablets were already translated. So just wipe that misrepresentation out of your brain as I go through this. These are the actual tablets. These are the Enuma Elish and the 7 tablets of creation. What you'll find is that the Bible is mostly this text right here. Dividing the waters from the Genesis is mostly here. Separating the waters from the waters, the creation of man in our image, all of that, really, in the creation of the earth, the solar system, it's all in these tablets right here. It's a real amazing story. Even the then preceding enslavement of mankind is also in these texts as well. And the reason for the enslavement is there as well. Now, if you're wondering how can you be sure that these texts are accurate, because Billy's up here talking, we don't even know if he knows what these texts say. Anybody can go to the CDLI online cuneiform digital library. It's hosted by UCLA, and you can actually translate the stone tablets for yourself. You can take a tablet off the virtual shelf and drop it into an online translator and read it for yourself and come up with your own conclusion. What you'll find, just like I did, is that after many, many decades really of reading and studying and researching these tablets, all the different people that have researched them have a very similar story. Not the exact story, but the fundamental basis, the foundation of the story is always the same. People from somewhere else came to this planet, began to work on this planet and create a breakaway civilization, and then at some point, they engaged the existing hominid on this planet, genetically tinkered with us, and turned us into a worker slave for them for a period of time. Now we're just like an abandoned seed colony here, and we're just hanging out, and we're trying to find our way. But there's hope for us. There's hope yet. So the Enuma Elish is really, was originally Akkadian, okay? This Akkadian cuneiform text. And these tablets, they were at the library of Ashurbanipal is where they were discovered. The Atrahasis is also another amazing text. This is also another account written at another time, also telling the similar story of beings coming from another place and coming here to Earth and engaging mankind. Now, what's interesting about this and what really is important about this is to understand, in this time frame when these tablets were being copied and created, people didn't have time to become, George Lucas, right? They weren't inspired by George Lucas to create these incredible sci-fi movies on tablets. These people were scribing specifically what they were told to write by their God or their Lord or their master, or they were writing what they were experiencing themselves at that time. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen how to write cuneiform. It's very, very tedious. You don't really have time to sit there and take out a stone tablet and start wedging in all this text just to make up an incredible sci-fi story. In my opinion, what they wrote was probably as close to the truth as we're possibly going to get, okay? And we know that Uranus, which is a planet that's in our solar system, was affected by a gravitational object that came through the solar system, which is why it's tilted on its side. I don't know if you knew that, but Uranus doesn't have an equatorial orbit this way. It's actually tilted and almost flipping end over end on its side. And the reason why this is important, because in the Enuma Elish and the Atrahasis, it talks about an actual planet or something large coming through our solar system, okay, in ancient times, talking about millions of years ago, and affecting the gravitational fields and also the orbits of all the planets and moons in our solar system. And so now we know this is true because science, they teach you this in astrophysics classes in college. Something huge was gravitationally captured by our solar system and came through, just like these stone tablets say. So when the stone tablets start backing up information that modern science is just now finding out, I have to think that they're probably as close to the truth as we're possibly going to get.